Alright, good morning everyone. Today's lesson, I will be going through 3 questions on page 10, 11 and 12 of the heuristic worksheets. So if you have not taken it out, can you pause the video and take out the heuristic worksheets and turn to page 10. Alright, page 10 is this. Okay, so just like the previous lesson, I'm not expecting you to look at the video and work out all the 3 questions, but I do want you to actually at certain point pause the video if you feel confident that you're able to carry on with the working on your own. Alright, pause it, work on your own and go back to the video again to check that you're on the right track. Right, and also to remind you, you are allowed to use your calculator for question 1, 2 and 3. Right, so before we start, just ensure that you have everything with you. So let's look at question number 1. Okay, question number 1. Ree, Sandy and Tara, they share 864 bits. Reese is going to give some of the bits to Sandy, and because of that, Sandy's bits double. So one way you can do it is write something like this, simple enough for you to actually know what happened. Reese is going to give some of her bits to Sandy, and because of that, Sandy's bits actually double. Double meaning it becomes from 1 unit becomes 2 units, double. Alright, next, Sandy is going to give some of her bits to Tara, and because of that, Tara's bits also double. So meaning Sandy is going to give some to Tara, and because of that, Tara's bits also double. Right, double again, meaning from 1 unit it becomes 2 units. Okay, I got to label these two easier for us. Later you'll know why. This is my case number 1, and this will be my case number 2. Okay, so in the end, these 3 girls, they actually have the same equal number of bits in the end. So the question is, how many bits did Reese have at first? Right, so one thing you need to take note for this question is all the 3, they share 864 bits. And case number 1, the bits was transferred from Reese to Sandy. Case number 2, the bit was transferred from Sandy to Tara. So the 864 bits, they were actually shared among the 3 girls. Meaning the 3 girls, they did not lose any of the bits, and they also did not gain any of the bits. Alright, so very important thing is the first part that's guiding us. What is the number of bits in the end? And I would like you to help me to add in these few words to make it clearer for each girl. Alright, so how many bits for each girl will get in the end? So remember I told you that the total is 864, and they are being shared by each of the 3, meaning the total must be 864 remain the same, divide by the 3 girls, divide by 3. So each girl had 288 bits in the end. Okay, so do pause the video to try to understand this part first, because no bits were gained or lost. So the number of bits in the end for each girl will be 288. So let's use a table to tabulate. So this is at the end. These 3 girls, they will have 288 bits, each of them. Alright, okay, so we are going to use this table to help us to work backward, because I know that this is what happened in the end. Each of them had 288. So we're going to go to case number 2, in which I know that Reese is going to give some to Sandy. And then lastly, we're going to work back to case number 1, in which I know Sandy is going to give some bits to Tara. Okay? Alright, so let's look at case number 2 first, where they made a mistake. Yeah, correct. So in which, sorry, I think I make a mistake. Case number 2, so wrong. Case number 2 should be red. So gonna use back. Case number 2 is Sandy is gonna give to Terry, and this is case number 2, and case number 1, that is where Reese is gonna give to Sandy. Alright, so we're gonna use back red for case number 2. So case number 2, Sandy is going to give to Terry, which is this part here. Okay, let's work out this part here. So when Sandy gave some to Tara has to give back, because we are working backward. And Tara's bits double, meaning to say that these 2 units must be 288, because this is what the question tells us. Tara's bits double, so I know 2 units is 288. That means 1 unit must be 288 divided by 2, which is 144. Okay, meaning this 144 must go back to Sandy. That means Sandy must be 288 plus the 144. So repeat again, this 144 is from here. Okay, so that is 432. So meaning before case number 2, Sandy will have 432 and Tara will have 144 bits. Okay, because when you work backward, Tara will have to return the 144 back to Sandy. So Sandy at the end had 288 plus the 144 that she's going to take back from Tara, so 432. Alright, so pause for a while if you need some time to understand this case 2. Alright, so now we go back to case number 1. Case number 1, Reese is going to give some bits to Sandy. Meaning if we go backward, Sandy has to return some bits to Reese. But how much to return? Sandy's bits actually double after she has received some bits from Reese. Meaning this 432 is actually 400. Is actually 2 units. That means 1 unit must be 432 divided by 2, 216. So this 216 will have to return to Reese. So Reese had 288 from the top here, plus the 216 that she's going to get from Sandy, and that will be 504. Alright, so with this we have worked out the number of bits that each girl had, and the question only asks for how many bits did Reese have at first. So Reese actually had 504 bits at first. Alright, okay, so I know this question is not so easy to actually understand, so please do pause the video or replay part of the video for you to actually understand how do you actually work backward from the end to case 2 and then case 1. Alright, so if you need to pause, do pause now and try to work out on your own. Alright, so let's go on to question number 2. Question number 2, actually the idea was to actually let you practice question number 1, meaning getting you to use a table and work the question backward. But I have tried using that method. I find that method is quite confusing, which I think model drawing is much easier. So for this question number 2, I'm going to use model drawing, okay, to actually explain to you. But like what I said just now, if you are confident, pause the video now, and work out the question on your own. Alright, okay, so let's look at this question if you need help. Sammy had $240. Peter had twice as much money as Sammy at first. So twice meaning 2 out of 1. Where 2 will go to Peter, the 1 will go to Sammy. Okay, remember this is at first. After that, Sammy is going to receive some money and Peter is going to spend some money. Meaning Peter is going to need to add some money to Sammy, and Peter, you need to take away some money from Peter later on. Okay, minus off. Now, because of that, the amount of money that Sammy received, right, was actually 3 times. Meaning 3 over 1. Meaning Sammy is going to receive 3 parts and Peter is going to spend 1 part. Okay, alright. Next, because of the transfer of money, meaning Sammy is going to receive 3 parts and then Peter is going to spend 1 part. As a result, they had the same amount of money in the end. And the question wants you to find out how much money did Sammy have in the end. Right? So like what I said just now, I'm going to use model drawing to guide you. So at first, Sammy will have 1 unit based on the question, and Peter will have 2 units. Alright, that is from the first statement. And Sammy had $240. Okay? Second line. Sammy is going to receive some money. That means you need to add something to Sammy's model later. And for Peter, you need to remove some parts of it. And the question, there are 2 very important things. Sammy received 3 times as much money as Peter spent, and they have the same amount of money in the end. So, meaning to say, I'm going to use another color, meaning this will be the 3 parts that Sammy is going to get. Okay, I'm going to draw a bit bigger. Okay, so something like this, 3 parts, and Peter is going to spend. This is the spent, this is the receive. Okay, and one very important thing is, because of this, right, they actually have the same amount. Okay, so if you look at my model, after adding 3 small parts to Sammy and take away 1 small part from Peter, they actually had the same amount of money. This is important. Now, what does that tell you? You see, this is 1 unit. This is 1 unit. Okay, this is 1 unit. Alright, and this is 240. Meaning to say 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 units is actually 240. So 1 unit will be 240 divided by 4 equal to 60. Alright, now some of you from here, you might want to pause the video and you should be able to answer the question right now, because the question asking you how much money did Sammy have in the end, which is this part here. Alright, so you might want to pause the video and work out the question on your own. Alright, the rest of you, if you need some more help, okay, so in the end, Sammy will have the 240, this part here, plus the 3 and each part is 60, so 3 times 60. Alright, order operation, 3 times 60 is 180, so that is 420. Right, so that's how we solve this question. So Sammy had $420 in the end. Okay, so that's how we solve question number 2. Again, pause the video, redo the question, ensure that you have understood how to solve this question before we go on to number 3. Okay, well, welcome back. Question number 3. Question number 3, you're going to use the method that we learned for question number 1. Meaning you're going to use a table to work out the 3 cases in this case backward. Okay, right. So I have 3 tanks A, B, and C, and they contain 3,600 grams of sand all together. Okay, remember that is a total. Okay, this is the total. I have 3,600 grams of sand. Okay, so there are 3 scenarios that we are talking about. We have the case number 1 here, case number 2 here, and case number 3 here. Okay, now what happened to case number 1? Case 1, you're going to transfer some sand from A to B, and it's 2/3. Okay, now what does that mean? Okay, I'm going to explain this, then I'm going to erase off, okay, this part. So I want you to listen carefully. What does that mean? It means that A is going to transfer 2/3 to B. A will left with 1 unit because 3 minus 2 is 1. Okay, so this is what it means. Alright, so this part is important for you to actually understand. Okay, then what happened to case number 2? Case number 2 says that B is going to transfer some of the sand to C, and it's half of it. Similarly, it means that if I were to transfer half of the sand from B to C, B will left with only 1 unit because 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay, next and lastly, case number 3, that is where C is going to transfer some of the sand to A, and it's 3/5. Again, what does that mean? Meaning if I will transfer 3/5 of the sand from C to A, 5 minus 3 is 2. That means C left with 2 units of sand. Okay, alright, so I'm going to erase this part. Okay, so these are the 3 cases we are talking about. So maybe spend some time to try to understand using different colors to represent case 1, 2, and 3. Hope that they will help you visually to actually understand these 3. Okay, next, the 3 tanks actually had the same amount of sand in the end, meaning after you transfer from A to B, B to C, C to A for all the 3 cases, they have the same amount of sand in the end. Okay, that is an important starting point you need to take note later on. Okay, and how much sand, that is the question, was there in B at first. Okay, so what is the first point here? Meaning in the end, you need to ask yourself, each tank A, B, and C, how much sand was there inside? So if you recall question number 1, when you have Reese, Sandy, and Tara, they shared the number of bits, 864 bits. they did not gain or did not lose any of the bits because the bits were shared among 3 of them. Likewise for this, the 3,600 grams of sand, okay, was actually shared among the 3 tanks. That means we did not add in any sand or remove any sand from A, B, and C. And meaning the total 3,600 must divide equally by 3, because this is what the question says. The 3 tanks actually have the same amount of sand. Alright, in the end. So that will be 1,200 grams of sand. Okay, so next we're going to use a table to help us. So you might want to take some time now to draw the table like what I'm doing now. So please draw neatly. Okay, so this will be A, B, and C. Alright, need to draw one more here. Okay, maybe somewhere around here. Okay, this right. So this will be in the end. Right, in the end, we all know that they all ended with 1,200 grams of sand. Okay, so you might want to pause here to actually construct your table first. Okay, and you read the video and you continue the video once you are done with that. Alright, so I hope your table now is ready. So now what we are doing is we're going to work backward, meaning I'm going to start with my case 3 first, which is my rate from C to A. Next, we're going to work with case 2, which is from B to C. Okay, and lastly will be my case 1. Case 1 will be from A to B. Okay, the fractions are actually quite important, alright, but I don't have space, but later we need to keep referring back to the fractions above. Okay, alright, so let's work with C first. C says that after you have transferred 2/5 of the sand from C to A, okay, after you have transferred 2/5 of the sand to C to A, meaning to say that C left with only 3 units. Left with only 3 units. That means my 3 units must be 1,002. Alright? So some of you might be asking, why 3 units? Because this is what the question says. The question says this part here. I think I make a mistake here. This one should be, oops, okay. This one should be 2. Okay, meaning I have transferred 2/5 from C to A. That means C should have 5. Transfer 2 to A, C left with 3. That means 3 units must be 1,002. From here, I know my 1 unit will be 1,002 divided by 3 equals to 400. Alright, so from here, I need to know my 2 units. Later, I'll tell you why you need the 2 units. 400 times 2, and I need my 5 units. Why 5 units? Because these 5 units is the amount of sand C had at first before you transfer the 2/5 from C to A. Okay, you read this part, if not, it will be very, very confusing. Alright, so C is going to take back the 2 units, which is 800, meaning this 800, okay, 800 will be transferred, okay, from A to C. That means for A, you need to return the 800 grams of sand back to C. So A were left with only 400 grams of sand. So before case 3 actually happened, A had 400 grams of sand and C actually had 2000 grams of sand. Okay, so if you're unclear, you perhaps want to pause a while or replay the video again to actually understand this part. Okay, next, case number 2. Okay, case number 2. Case number 2 says that, case number 2 with the one in green, case number 2 says that you're going to transfer half of the sand from B to C. What does that mean? That means initially B has 2 units. You're going to transfer 1 unit from B to C. That means B left with only 1 unit. Meaning to say this 1 unit must be 1002 because that was after the transfer. So if I want to know how much sand did B have at first, I must find my 2 units, which is 1200 times 2. So that is 2400. So that was a amount of sand that B have at first. Alright, so meaning now C will have to return. C will have to return from the 2000 here, from 2000, had to return the 1002, the 1 unit. Alright, which is 800. Alright, so that was the amount of sand that B and C had before case number 2. Finally, let's go on to case number 1. Okay, case number 1 says, okay, for this part here, case number 1 is here. A is going to pass 2/3 of the sand from A to B. Now, that means that A initially had 3 units. We're going to transfer 2 units of the sand from A to B, meaning A left with only 1 unit. 3 minus 2 is 1. So, meaning to say, this 400 must be the 1 unit. 1 unit must be 400. 2 unit will be 400 times 2, 800. And this 800, actually later on you'll find that this 800 will be related to B. Okay, we'll come back to that later. And I want to know my 3 unit because 3 units is the amount of sand that A had before case number 1, which is 1200. Okay, so the 800, meaning B now need to return the 800 from the 2400 back to A. So 2400 minus 800, so 1600. Okay, so that is exactly what the question wants to know. How much sand was there in tank B at first? So that is actually the answer. Okay, so write a statement. There was, okay, remember the question wants you to express your answer in kilogram. So there was 1.6 kilogram of sand in tank B at first. Right? So that's how you solve question number 3. So again, do not just complete the page without any understanding. So do pause, do play back the video, ensure that you have actually understood all the 3 questions for today's lesson. Alright, thank you.